Yesterday, I attended a distinguished lecture series event in Vero Beach, Florida, featuring James Balog, an internationally acclaimed environmental photographer who's also the subject of an Emmy Award-winning film from 2012, Chasing Ice. Mr. Balog is the recipient of many awards and author of Ice: Portraits of Vanishing Glaciers. He has been published in the National Geographic and exhibited at more than 100 museums and art galleries worldwide. Sounds interesting and exciting, right? Well, the first clue that the audience was going to be treated to an ongoing climate change consensus myth lecture came with an online search of James Balog himself. He's been featured on NBC Nightly News, ABC Nightline, Real Time with Bill Maher, and has given many multimedia presentations, including attending several climate change conferences and been a guest at the White House during the Obama administration. Should I set aside my qualms and reluctance to be a willing participant in a lecture targeted at very wealthy Vero Beach retirees? Or should I throw caution to the wind and simply go and enjoy the photography? I opted for the latter, which is why I'm now compelled to speak out on what I found to be a pointless and fear-based pitch based on one man's documented history of what is happening to the glaciers on our planet over time. While the photography was undeniably breathtaking and beautiful, and the man himself very passionate about his work, the event was completely diminished by the insertion of the fake narrative that 97% of world's scientists, as announced by John Kerry back in 2015, all agree that climate change is real, man-made, and dangerous. But is this true? And where does this number, 97%, come from? In 2009, a University of Illinois master's student, Kendall Zimmerman, and her advisor, Peter Doran, used a two-question online survey to conclude that the debate on the authenticity of global warming and the role played by human activity is largely non-existent among those who understand the nuances and scientific basis of long-term climate processes. So, global warming was out. But climate change, that might work. In 2013, Australian scientist John Cook, author of the 2011 book Climate Change Denial: Heads in the Sand, analyzed 12,000 abstracts to come up with a 97% consensus claiming that humans are responsible for global warming, otherwise known as anthropogenic climate change. In other words, the influence the human beings have on nature. What is little known about this number, 97%, however, is the fact that only 34% of the papers examined in this analysis expressed any opinion on human responsibility for climate change, and then 33% appearing to endorse it. He divided 33, or those endorsing, by 34, those with no opinion, and there you have 97%. Other studies over the years that were from skeptical scientists or those shown to have a diversity of opinions have been conveniently overlooked, so as not to disturb the widely touted view of climate change being the result of us poor old slobs that inhabit the planet Earth. But back to James Balog. James told his captive audience that within the next 30 years or so, they could expect their homes to be underwater due to rising coastal seawaters. He even had a nifty graph to show just how much damage this was expected to do. The predictable gasps from the listeners confirmed that he had hit his mark. During the question period at the end of the lecture, he was asked what suggestions he might have for arresting this man-made change in our climate. First, he made sure to mention that it is unfortunate that average people, you and I, just don't get it. And then he recommended that we all go out and buy hybrid cars or Teslas as a contribution to doing our bit to saving the planet. I wonder if he wrote this while sitting in his fossil fuel spilling airplane on the way to the lecture, or maybe in the limo or the taxi that brought him to the event. In reacting to this rather offensive diatribe of an accomplished photographer who should probably leave politics out of his presentations, I came across an interview from the Senate Judiciary Subcommittee on Oversight of the Sierra Club, President Aaron Mayer, from 2015, October to be exact. In it, Senator Ted Cruz is seen questioning Mr. Mayer on his assertion that 97% of scientists think that man is responsible for global warming. When presented with the facts that satellite data over the last 18 years show no warming, Mr. Mayer refused to accept that Sierra Club may have it wrong, falling back on the same 97% line in answer to all of the mounting evidence being thrown at him by Senator Ted Cruz. So, which is it? Computer models or actual satellite data? What do you think? Or should we just ask Mr. James Bellow?